day of high-level strategy, undeniable visual as well that we have been seeing with meetings that have been taking place. Multiple meetings have been taking place through the day. First, it was the CCS meeting that took place. And remember, this was the first meeting after the ceasefire understanding between India and Pakistan. So a lot of diplomatic dominance that we are seeing. India's Operation Sindhu offensive continuing to unfold diplomatically as well, strategically and decisively. In fact, this morning, India's Security Corps was activated once again with Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairing the third Cabinet Committee on Security. This was the first meeting after the Pahalgam terror attack. Meeting comes a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi had visited the Adampur Air Base in Punjab and boosted the morale of our air warriors. The Prime Minister's visit was a live fact-check of Pakistan's lies and propaganda. The CCS meeting was followed by a full Union Cabinet meeting in which the Cabinet congratulated the Prime Minister and our armed forces for the success of Operation Sindhu. On the sidelines, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, President Droupadi Murmu, was briefed by the tri-service chiefs, signalling the highest level coordination between the executive and military. Yesterday, the veterans were also engaged, where CDS General Anil Chauhan, along with the Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi, Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, as well as the Air Force Chief Air Marshal AP Singh, provided perspective to the veterans and think tanks on Operation Sindhu at the headquarters of the Integrated Defence Staff. My colleague Pradeep Datta is joining us on the broadcast with the details. Pradeep, we have seen multiple meetings taking place on the same, and as we've been discussing through the day as well, there are some crucial long-term decisions to be made. Take us through the highlights of these meetings that have been held today, including the CCS meeting, the cabinet meeting, after which the Prime Minister also had a separate meeting with Amit Shah as well as Rajnath Singh.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Today there were three meetings. The first meeting was the Cabinet Committee for Security meet, and this was the first one after ceasefire was announced, and third one since Pahalgam massacre, because the first meeting took place on April 23rd. And the second meeting was on April 30th, and today was the third meeting. And April 23rd, we saw that the biggest decision that they had taken was to put Indus Water Treaty on freeze. And April 30th, they decided to shut their airspace for Pakistan so that they can increase the operational cost for their flying. And because they want to punish Pakistan. And today also there were certain things that were discussed. One was about the internal security. Then there was related to the external security also. How to ensure that they have to stay vigilant, because though the guns may have fallen silent, but what actually the main thing that is confronting right now India is that the infiltration from across the border, that they need to properly bolster the anti-infiltration grid, and they have also to ensure that the counter-insurgency grid is so strong enough and their intelligence network is strong enough to provide them any kind of information so that they can continue with the operation. But yes, certain diplomatic measures are to be taken. And besides this, they also want to name and shame Pakistan at the international fora. The main thing will be that already we know that India is going to United Nations Security Council Standing Committee meeting, which is going to take place after 2-3 days. And during that meeting, they are going to provide evidence against TRF, where they are trying to prove that this TRF is nothing but this is a front of Lashkar-e-Toiba, and the same Lashkar-e-Toiba is responsible for Pahalgam massacre. Not only that, they will try to also get in touch with FATF, the Financial Action Task Force Group, so that they can convince them to put Pakistan in jail list, so that they can put pressure on these organizations so that money can be choked. Once the funds are choked to Pakistan, we have seen that how the funds are being misused by Pakistan for the terror-related activities. Already the biggest example is that how IMF loan that has been given to Pakistan, that will be used to rebuild terror infrastructure, and that
in
will
fact,
be used
Pradeep, India has been very clear that the non-kinetic action is going to continue. And just to put things in perspective, the CCS meetings, after they were held, big action has also come in. In fact, a day after, the Prime Minister had also given forces a free hand. This was after the CCS meeting that had taken place, after which India struck the terror havens in Pakistan. Today as well, a meeting taking place. Mohit, is it an indication of bigger things to come in the coming hours?
Well, Pratibha, you see, this was the first CCS meeting post-ceasefire, and CCS is the top-notch you can say committee which decides on the internal security, the border security, the diplomatic relations, how exactly the India will go forward from now. Now, what we are being told is that the cabinet was briefed about the Operation Sindhu, post-effects of it, and what exactly India has done. And also, Home Minister Amit Shah gave a briefing to all the ministers over there. Now, why this meeting was important? Because as the army has been saying that now that the ceasefire has happened, but there are certain things, not just on the military side, but on the diplomatic front, various steps are being taken. As we know for that, how Indus Water Treaty has been kept in abeyance. So to review all that, to review internal security, to review what's happening at the border, to review what exactly would be India's next step when it comes to the diplomatic steps that India have taken. So for all that, this meeting was important, and post that a cabinet meeting happened. So clearly, as of now, since Pahalgam attack, 4 CCS meetings have already happened, which have been chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Everything regarding Operation Sindhu is being monitored in this particular meeting, and what exactly would be the next course of action by India was also discussed in this particular meeting. And all the cabinet colleagues of the government, they were also being briefed about Operation Sindhu. Now the cabinet colleagues, what we are being told is that they appreciated Prime Minister Narendra Modi's will and government's will to back the armed forces, because India have taken a strong action against Pakistan and the terror hubs that have always been operating from Pakistan, and perhaps that is why Pakistan is rattled. So the CCS was important in the backdrop of the fact that how post-ceasefire, what exactly would be the steps India would be taking, because Pakistan is a rogue nation, Pratibha. Pakistan post-ceasefire also indulged in ceasefire violations, shelling and sending drones. So clearly that all was being discussed in this particular meeting, and it was a kind of a review regarding internal security, the border security, and also the diplomatic steps that India can take further to combat Pakistan. Back to you.
All right. Mohit, thank you for joining us with those details. In fact, with each passing day, there is more evidence of how Pakistan was pounded by India's Operation Sindoor. In fact, in the latest, there are satellite photos that are released to news agency APTN by Maxar Technologies that show widespread damage to strategic Pakistani air bases. These before and after images give you an exact sense of how Pakistan's defense infrastructure was damaged in Operation Sindoor. Now look at the visuals on the screens, and they give you a better picture of the damage that has been inflicted on the air bases in Pakistan. Look at how the infrastructure has been disabled. This is in the Sukur Air Base, and look at what it looked like before, and take a closer look of the damage that has been inflicted in the after pictures. Now remember, these are precision strikes, so you're not going to see a complete damage of the entire area. These are precision strikes, so you're going to see some critical damages to the infrastructure. Now look at Bolari. Here as well, look at the pictures before. This is what it looked like, and this was when it was completely intact. And then look at what happened after the strike by India. Look at the damage that has been caused. So this, in a sense, is a message being given out to Pakistan that we can reach the very heart of your military infrastructure and we can damage it if we wish so. Now look at Jacobabad. Here as well, the before pictures are from the 30th of April, and they show you the damage that has been caused here after the strikes by India. Like we mentioned, these are precision strikes, so you're not going to see a large-scale damage, but these are precision strikes, so they hit the heart of the military infrastructure. And this is where the big message goes out to Pakistan as well, that we are going to enter in these spaces which you think are most protected, that are well protected. But if India wants, it can reach there. That's a very, very clear message going out to Pakistan. Look at these pictures here again. This is how it was before, but look at how the infrastructure has been damaged in the strikes by India. This is again at an airbase. Military installations being targeted only after India first hit the terror bases, when Pakistan retaliated, wanting to hit the civilian infrastructure in India, wanting to target Indians, civilians in the country. That's when India retaliated by hitting the military installations within Pakistan. This again, Rahim Yar Khan as well, before and after pictures.